Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're out at the large greenhouse here and we are just checking out outside the greenhouse all of our tomatoes. We got 3 rows, a bunch of beans that are getting overtaken by weeds, a whole bunch of heading collards, lots of beans. These beans are as tall as I am. When we planted them maybe 2.5 weeks ago, we planted those as soon as we put this trellis up, so we're getting really good success with that. Some of those beetles are coming in and they're having a snack with our bean leaves, but we've got so many that it's not really putting any damage to them to where we're seeing any negative effects. Got a new row of butterfly flowers and we're kind of doing all our cut flowers. I got some more zinnia. We have lots of rows of zinnias because those are very, very productive when we're selling all of those cut flowers at the market. The rest of our cut flowers and most of our perennials and stuff, we like to have a lot of flowers because all of our pollinators, we've got a beehive we're going to start. I got my little guy out here with me, so we're gonna run into the greenhouse. I was talking about all these tomatoes. Once we run out of tomato cages, we are pretty well done planting tomatoes and we start putting them up on fence lines and finding anywhere we have some type of structure. So coming into the large greenhouse here, everything's looking pretty well. You can see we've used about 30 gallons of water or so. We've got one little fish swimming around in there. You can see our mint is just going crazy here. Fig tree behind. Excuse the mess. Our greenhouse is always a moving catastrophe, so we've got lots of moving parts and my little guy helps me clutter it up quite a bit. So he's eating a tomato out of the greenhouse there, and that's what we came out here for. I just wanted to show that everything's still doing well and we move these plants in and out of the greenhouse. And coming up down here, you can see we've got decent tomatoes coming out of here. We picked all the ones that were ready. What we wanted to do today is come out and talk about tomato plants and why we want to put these tomato plants on some type of structure. You can see that we just came up here and we had tied these cheap little lines. We've got all of this line here we've been cutting and we've been just tying up our tomatoes here inside the greenhouse. We let all these tomatoes sprawl out and then we will tie them up once they're long enough. You can't really tie them up until they have a little bit of length to them. So why do we get these tomatoes off the ground?
Because it spreads diseases.
Yes, we do not want to get diseases in our tomatoes. So let's take a look down here. We can see where this tomato is touching the ground. We have a little root system forming, and that is not good because this got pulled out of the ground when we were planting this up. So we strung this tomato up and we had pulled these roots out of the ground, causing a lack of moisture. This whole stem is probably going to die back. So we do not want that in the ground. We do not want our leaves on the ground. So you can see the leaves that are touching the soil down here. Some of these leaves that have dropped. We've got like nematodes and stuff that will form. I don't think we have any in here, but the lower leaves will pick up diseases from touching the ground, rotting leaves and stuff like that, or pick up any type of bacteria, pathogens. We've got this little flower right here and it has not been pollinated. Now, not having good pollination is a multi-factor thing. It's not saying that we have a disease in the bottom of the plant. We're going to get a lot of tomatoes out of here and I'm actually pretty surprised at how well this grew. I don't know if you guys can really see how much tomatoes we had, but we maybe planted 8 tomato plants and they went absolutely crazy. So we're going to be able to string all of these up. We just want to keep them off the soil. So we've got one here and this is very, very simple. You basically just hold the plant straight up and you will just start wrapping your string right around it and it will look like this when you're finished. And you can see our nice little flowers, nice tomatoes, everything is up nice and taut, and we're preventing things like this. We're getting those stems, we're getting those tomatoes, we're getting those leaves off of the soil. So that is very, very important. I have so many plants outside that I really don't have time to prune or pick up the leaves and do all of that. But inside my greenhouse, I definitely want to have some type of control because I don't want an outbreak of any type of bug or one disease to get rampant because it will spread right through this entire crop. We've got to get the rest of these all strung up here, and I just wanted to come out and take note and share with everybody why we're doing Getting those tomatoes off of the ground is very, very important to get nice, healthy tomatoes. Heirlooms or not, you want to get them up. A good airflow through the plant so you don't have excessive roots or excessive moisture where you have roots reaching for the air because there's so much moisture because it's not moving. We just wanted to come out and share these tips with everybody on the tomatoes and having success with tomatoes, especially since we talk a lot about greenhouses. So I'm sure a lot of you have your tomatoes in the greenhouses finding success, or maybe finding errors and flaws. We made a lot of mistakes along the ways, believe me. So I'm sharing this, and we throw a tarp down, as you can see, until we get all of those tomatoes up. So they kind of just curl out and roll along the tarp. You really don't have to string them up if you have a tarp underneath them. If you have a barrier between the tomatoes and the leaves and the soil, and they don't have soil sitting on top of the tarp where it's going to rot the leaves, you might be able to get away with it. We had done that last year. I experimented with this and how I found success. So we're really going to hammer these tomatoes out of the greenhouse next year, and we're going to be much more prepared. And we may use some of our compost heating to achieve a little bit more success early on to have faster tomatoes, possibly early spring tomatoes coming out of the garden as soon as that sun starts to heat up. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and if anybody has any questions, definitely drop in the comments below. We should be bringing more updates along. I moved my methane barrel in here and I want to do some work with that. It's just been so darn hot lately that it's hard to think about heating your greenhouse in winter when it's 90 degrees outside. So we're always looking towards winter and heating our greenhouse. So there's going to be a lot of updates coming with fall just right around the corner. Summer is so short here. So I'd like to thank everybody again. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and hopefully I have some cool updates coming very shortly.